Hello, welcome. You are listening to Dr. Sushma Singh. Today in Unit 29, Social Movements, Meanings and Dimension, we are continuing our topic, Transformation of Social Movement. India has been a fertile ground for various types of social movement, the reform movements, the independence movement, tribal, peasant, Dalit, urban, working class, women's, ecological and environmental, religious, ethno-linguistic, peace, youth and student, and several other variations of identity movements. Several important perspectives have emerged in India in the study of these movements. Paratnath Mukherjee is of the view that relationship between the social movement and social change is incontrovertible. Not to recognize this would be a lose the prime focus of any analysis of the movement. Four basic premises follows from this Mukherjee's. The first is social movements are essentially related to the social change and therefore to the social structure. This does not mean that a social movement is a necessary condition of social change can take place independently of the social movement through the operation of impersonal forces and factors, nor does it mean that it is change resisting. Social movements are products of a social structure and hence emerge out of certain conditions in the social structure. Social movements themselves have a recognizable structure in terms of which they are rendered functional relative to their goals, and social movements have consequences of the social structure of which they are the product. Social changes therefore can be viewed in the following terms. First, as changes occurring within given structures, changes occurring from an emergence of additional structures, and changes occurring as a result of replacement of existing structures by alternative structures. Any collective mobilization for action directed explicitly towards an alteration or transformation of the structures of a system, or against an explicit threat to an alternation or transformation of the system, can be properly to and understood as a social movement. When the collective mobilization aims at affecting wide-ranging and far-reaching changes in the major institutional system comprising the whole society, we can rightly term it a revolutionary movement. Collective mobilizations aimed at changes in a system are quasi-movement. The direction and rationale for such changes is provided by the ideology of the movement. Thus, there are movements galore, but not many are social movements. Most are quasi, and very rarely are they revolutionary movement. However, a revolutionary movement will presumably have to pass through the stages of quasi and social movements before maturing into a revolutionary movement. Double Singh Roy suggests an analytical framework to study the transformation of peasant movement by categorizing peasant movement in terms of their ideological orientation, forms of mobilization, and orientation towards change. In this framework, a peasant movement has been perceived as an organized effort by the poor peasants, subsistence cultivators and small producers, and the agricultural working class, agricultural laborers, tenants, sharecroppers, and artisans. through the process of new collective identity formation to bring about change in the pattern of ownership, control on use of land, share of agricultural produce, wage structure, credit and institutional support system, and other socio-economic orders of society that have subjected them over a period of time. These peasant movements are categorized as radical and reformative to analyze their dynamics. A radical peasant movement is viewed as a non-institutionalized, large-scale collective mobilization initiated and guided by radical ideology for rapid social change. It is directed towards a structural change in agrarian society through based on broad economic formation and in the given socio-cultural context of society. The lifespan of a radical movement has been varied, their extensive period of action and collective mobilization rather short-lived. A reformative peasant movement, on the other hand, is one where institutionalized mass mobilization is initiated by recognized bodies for a gradual change in the selected institutional arrangement of society. Guided by the reformative modified ideology of social change in the course of collective mobilization, these movements get institution, norms, values and customs selectively redefined in a new context. Peasant movements, however, are not discretely radical or reformative. Rather, one may be an extension of another through transition over a period of time. It would be seen in the course of this study that process of transformation of these movements from radical to reformative directly affects the process of new collective identity formation of the peasantry. We shall be examining these perspectives in detail in the following units of this block. Now let us conclude the unit. In this introductory unit of this block, we have raised several issues for discussion which would be dealt with in the remaining 3 units of the block. At the outset, we have clarified the meaning and dimensions of social movement. The conversational modes of conceptualization of social movements, the shift in this mode since late 1950s, the emergence of new social movements, the European, American and the Indian orientation of social movement studies are discussed here. We have also examined the issues, origins and vital elements of social movements. A brief discussion on social movement studies in India is also presented in this block. Here we have come to the end of the unit and we want to close this lecture. Thanks for listening.